You know that person who never posts anything? Maybe they're your friend. Maybe they're you. While everyone else is documenting their holiday, they're just enjoying their holiday. And while you might think they're missing out, there's a chance they've figured out something the rest of us haven't. The less you need to prove your life online, the more real it actually feels. Let me ask you something. When was the last time you posted on social media? Now, when was the last time you thought about posting but didn't? That gap, that hesitation, tells you everything. Because somewhere between opening the camera app and hitting share, something happens. Your brain does this quick calculation. Will people like this? Does this make me look good enough? Is my life interesting enough to get validation from 2,400 followers I haven't talked to in years? There's this sociologist named Erving Goffman who talked about how we all wear different masks to control how others see us. But here's the thing. Social media didn't invent this. It just put that mask on a stage with a billion-person audience forever. One bad caption isn't just awkward, it's permanent. Anyone can go back and judge it whenever they want. So people who don't post, they're skipping the performance completely. Studies show that about 30 to 40% of social media users are what researchers call lurkers, people who scroll but never share. And that word sounds creepy, right? Like they're hiding in the shadows, watching. But research published in Frontiers in Psychology found something interesting about why this happens. When you combine the pressure to post with the fear of being judged, something breaks. The study found that comparing yourself to others and worrying about privacy mixed with outside pressure creates exhaustion and anxiety. And those feelings make people just watch instead of post. Translation: your brain is trying to protect you. Think about it. Comparing yourself to others isn't just unhelpful, it's poison. Everyone's showing their best moments while you're stuck in Tuesday afternoon reality. There's this psychology concept called self-determination theory that says humans do best when they feel in control of their own choices, without outside pressure. Social media is the exact opposite. It's a validation machine where your self-worth gets measured by likes and reactions. People who avoid posting aren't antisocial, they're protecting their sense of control. They're saying, my confidence doesn't need to come from strangers on the internet. Research shows that people who are more secure in themselves and don't need approval often feel no need to post about their lives. Their self-esteem isn't tied to likes or comments. They scroll because they enjoy updates or staying connected, but they stay quiet because they value boundaries. Think about someone you know who rarely posts. When you actually see them in person, are they miserable? Lonely? No. They're usually just fine, sometimes more than fine, because they're living their life instead of filming it. Here's what's intriguing. Even when you know social media is fake, your brain still falls for it. Psychologists have found that just scrolling, browsing without posting makes you automatically compare yourself to others. You see someone's promotion, their engagement ring, their new house, and even though you know it's staged, the damage is done. Your subconscious doesn't care if it's real life or performed life. It just sees they have more than me. People who don't post avoid this constant attack, not because they're weak, but because they know the game is rigged. Why would you voluntarily join a competition where everyone else controls the camera, the angles, and the story?
And then there's this whole group of people who watch YouTube religiously, but won't touch Instagram or TikTok. They'll binge watch a 3-hour video essay, but scroll past every photo dump. Why? Because YouTube doesn't demand performance from them. It's consumption without the social pressure. No one's tracking if you liked the video. No one's wondering why you haven't posted in 3 months. You're just learning, laughing, existing. It's the ultimate passive relationship with content. All the entertainment, none of the anxiety. They've found the loophole. There's another layer here. People who avoid social media tend to have fewer friends but deeper relationships. They'd rather have 5 friends who actually know what's happening in their life than 1,000 people who like to post. And honestly, research backs this up. Quality friendships consistently predict happiness way better than quantity. 10 real conversations beat 1,000 reactions. But here's where it gets interesting. Not posting doesn't mean not caring. These people are often super observant. They notice things others miss, the change in someone's posting frequency, the different tone in captions, the carefully built story that's just slightly off. They're not checked out, they're paying close attention, just quietly. They prefer understanding to performing, thinking to broadcasting, depth to noise. Psychologists talk about two types of self-awareness. Public self-consciousness is worrying about how others see you. Private self-consciousness is thinking about your own thoughts and values. People who don't post lean towards the second one. Instead of asking, how will this look, they ask, how does this feel? This isn't overthinking, this is emotional intelligence. When you're not constantly managing your public image, you have mental space for actual self-reflection, for asking hard questions, for building an identity that doesn't need outside approval. And that creates something powerful, a sense of self that exists without an audience. Here's what people miss. Choosing not to post is not the same as hiding. It's not about fear, it's about power. It's saying, my private life is valuable enough that it doesn't need to be shared for others to consume. It's realizing that some experiences get worse when you're performing them. That sunset's more beautiful when you're not photographing it. That conversation's more meaningful when you're not mentally writing the caption. That achievement's more satisfying when it's just yours. Researchers have found that people who rarely post often show higher levels of self-awareness and reflection. They're less affected by the emotional ups and downs that come from tying your worth to likes and comments. They're playing a longer game. But here's the paradox nobody talks about. The same traits that make you avoid social media, control, self-reflection, security, are exactly what social media claims to give you. Connection, community, self-expression. Social media promised to bring us together. Instead, it created a performance economy where being real is the rarest thing, where silence became weird, where not posting became stranger than posting 3 times a day. The people who opt out aren't rejecting connection, they're rejecting the terms. They're saying, I'll connect, but on my terms, in real time, without the show.
So here's what I want you to think about. What if the people who don't use social media aren't missing out? What if they're the ones who figured it out first? What if choosing privacy over posts, depth over followers, and being present over performing isn't antisocial? It's the ultimate form of self-respect. Because at the end of the day, nobody on their deathbed wishes they'd posted more, but plenty of people wish they'd lived more. The quiet ones aren't hiding in the shadows. They're just living in the light where cameras can't reach. But let's talk about what nobody wants to admit. The reason so many people feel guilt about not posting isn't because they actually want to. It's because somewhere along the way we were taught that invisibility equals irrelevance. That if you're not sharing, you're not living. That if your life isn't documented, it didn't happen. And that's the most dangerous lie social media ever sold us. Think about it like this. There's a concept in psychology called audience deprivation. It's the idea that when you're used to performing for others, you lose the ability to experience things just for yourself. Every moment becomes content, every emotion becomes a caption, every achievement becomes a question. How will this look to them? People who don't post have escaped this prison. They've remembered something we all knew as children, that joy doesn't need witnesses to be real. But here's where it gets complicated. Not everyone who avoids social media is doing it from a place of peace. Some people aren't posting because they're afraid they're not enough, afraid their life isn't interesting, afraid they'll be judged, mocked, forgotten. And that's a different thing entirely. That's not choosing silence, that's being silenced by your own inner critic. The difference is everything. One is freedom, the other is a cage. So how do you know which one you are? Ask yourself this. When you see someone else's post, do you feel relieved that you didn't share, or do you feel ashamed that you couldn't? Do you avoid posting because you value your privacy, or because you've decided you're not worth showing? Because here's the truth that nobody tells you. Healing isn't about never posting again. It's about untangling your worth from the need to be seen. It's about choosing when to share and when to keep things sacred, not because you're scared, but because you know the difference. There's this beautiful concept in Japanese culture called ma. It's the empty space, the pause between notes in music, the silence in conversation.
the emptiness that gives meaning to what surrounds it. Western culture sees empty space as something to fill. Social media has weaponized that instinct. Every quiet moment becomes scrolling time, every pause becomes content creation. But Ma teaches us that the empty space is where life actually happens. The moments between posts, the experiences you don't photograph, the thoughts you don't broadcast. That's where you exist most fully. People who don't post understand this instinctively. They've realized that not everything needs to be shared to matter. Not everything needs an audience to have value. They've made peace with the idea that some of their best days will never trend. Some of their biggest growth will never get a single like. And they're okay with that. More than okay. They're free. But let's get real for a second. Choosing to step back from social media in 2025 is an act of rebellion. It's going against the current of an entire culture that equates visibility with value. Your friends might stop inviting you to things because you're never on Instagram anyway. Your family might get upset that you didn't comment on their posts. People might actually forget about you because you're not reminding them you exist every day. And that hurts. It really does. But here's what you gain in return. You gain yourself back. You gain the ability to sit with your own thoughts without immediately broadcasting them. You gain mornings where you don't check your phone before you check in with yourself. You gain experiences that are just yours, unshaped by the need to make them shareable. You gain relationships with people who actually want to know how you're doing, not just see what you're doing. You gain a self-esteem that isn't dependent on algorithm-determined validation. You gain time, so much time, hours and hours of your life back.
There's research from the University of Pennsylvania that found when people limited their social media use to just 30 minutes a day for 3 weeks, they showed significant reductions in loneliness and depression. 30 minutes. Not quitting entirely, just boundaries. Just recognizing that these platforms were built to be addictive, and that your inability to stop scrolling isn't a personal failure, it's by design. The people who don't post haven't just figured out how to resist, they've figured out that they don't have to play at all. And here's the part that really matters. When you stop performing your life, you start actually living it. You stop editing your experiences in real time. You stop choosing restaurants based on how they'll photograph. You stop filtering your opinions to be palatable. You stop measuring your worth by metrics designed to keep you anxious and coming back for more. You become a person again instead of a brand. And that person, the one who exists without an audience, is the most authentic version of you that exists. But I want to be clear about something. This isn't about judgment. If social media brings you genuine joy, if it connects you to people who matter, if it's a tool you use intentionally and not a trap you're caught in, then that's beautiful. Keep going. This is for the people who feel stuck, the ones who open the app out of habit and close it feeling worse, the ones who've started to notice that their happiest memories are the ones they forgot to post, the ones who are tired of performing and ready to just be. So what does healing look like? It starts with small acts of reclamation. It's taking a photo and not posting it. It's having a thought and not tweeting it. It's achieving something and telling one person who matters instead of 500 people who don't. It's sitting with the discomfort of not sharing and realizing that the world doesn't end, that you're still real, still valuable, still here. It's learning to find validation in the mirror instead of the metrics. It's remembering that before social media, people still fell in love, still created art, still found meaning, still mattered. The truth is, people who don't use social media aren't hiding from life. They're refusing to let life be reduced to content. They're saying no to the constant audition. They're choosing depth in a world obsessed with surfaces. They're living in 3 dimensions while everyone else is flattening themselves into pixels. And maybe, just maybe, they're on to something the rest of us are still learning. Because at the end of everything, when the platforms die and the trends fade and the followers scatter, what remains is the life you actually lived. The sunsets you watched instead of photographed, the conversations you had instead of recorded, the moments you kept for yourself instead of trading for validation. The quiet ones aren't missing out. They're the ones who figured out what actually matters before the rest of us did. They're living proof that you can exist fully and completely without an audience.
that your life is real even when it's unseen, that you are enough even in the silence. If this story resonated with you, if you've ever felt the weight of being unseen or the freedom of choosing privacy, you are not alone. There is a whole world of people living beautifully in the margins, away from the spotlight, building lives that don't need applause to matter. If this hit home, please subscribe. Not for the algorithm, not for the numbers, but because these conversations matter. And maybe, just maybe, we all need reminding that we're more than what we share.